Hey y'all, in this video, I'm going to share 3 reasons why you may not be raising money for your nonprofit. Let's get into it. Hey, this is Tiffany with Boss on the Budget. I help new and small nonprofits get up and running. So if you need help with starting your nonprofit or raising money for your nonprofit, you should be subscribed to this channel because guess what? I drop videos every week. And today I'm just going to share 3 reasons why you may not be raising money for your nonprofit, or I could flip it and say 3 things you really need to pay attention to if you are raising money. Now, I've covered a lot of different things around raising money, so I'm linking a video above that might be helpful for you, and also putting links to a few videos down below in the description box to make sure you check out my other videos where I talk about how to accept money for your nonprofit, what you should be paying attention to, your fundraising checklist to make sure you have all your administrative requirements in place, all that stuff. All of those videos that I've talked about that before, I'm linking below in the description box. So this video is more about like getting your mind right. You know, I like to talk about strategy and like specifics, but I also like to talk about mindset and what it really takes and what you need to know before you go down this path to raising money for your nonprofit, okay? If you've never raised money before, or if this is completely new to you, give me a shout out in the comments because I would love to know those newbies so I can make sure that I get you the information that you need when it comes to raising money. So the first thing you need to understand to get your mind right about raising money is that fundraising never stops. And the worst thing you could do is kind of look at fundraising as random events here and there. And that's sometimes what we do when we're small and we're just getting started and you say, hey, I think we need some money here. Let's try to raise, you know, this is what a lot of people do. Let's try to raise money. So maybe we'll do a popcorn fundraiser here, or someone has an idea here. Well, let's try all these different things. You don't really have a goal in place of how much you're trying to raise. There's no strategy behind it. It's just you're trying new things. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying new things, but I would encourage you to be more strategic about how you do your fundraising. And I want you to realize that fundraising is an ongoing process for your nonprofit. There should never be a moment in the year where you're not doing something to bring in money for your nonprofit or that ties into your goals of raising money for your nonprofit. Now, I want you to hear me when I say this, because when I say fundraising, I'm throwing that word around, but I am fully aware that not everyone understands or sees fundraising the way I do. So I just want to be clear about that. That fundraising is not asking for money. That is a very simplistic way of looking at it. Fundraising is the process of building relationships with people, building alignments with people, so you all can accomplish a goal together. And it seems kind of convoluted the way I described it, but how about I break it down like this? Every action that you take to describe the work that you do, or to share your impact, or to explain why your services are needed, and every action you do to show people that their money goes to something good, like all those little actions leading up to or even after someone gives, encourages trust. It encourages a stronger bond between you and the donor, and that is a part of fundraising, not just asking. You can't just ask random people on the internet to give to your nonprofit and expect them to just start throwing money at you. It doesn't work like that. When you're asking people for money, it takes time and it takes building trust, right? And there are a lot of different ways you can build trust. And sometimes building trust doesn't take long. Like if people can see firsthand what you're doing and they're moved either emotionally or someone they know and trust encourages them to give, that trust can take seconds, you know what I mean? And sometimes it takes longer and many more touch points for someone to build trust. But the point is, it takes effort to get to that ask. So every little thing you're doing throughout the year, even if it's not directly asking, because I'm not saying ask people constantly for money, you know what I mean? Every time you talk to them, you're asking for money. I'm saying every chance you get, you should be sharing information about your impact. You should be talking about why your organization is needed. You should be talking about why you're the expert and you know what you're talking about and you're the right organization to do this. You should be sharing the impact. You should be sharing how their $5 or their $50 or their $500 did something. You should be elevating the voices of the people who you helped, who want to share the good things that you're doing. You should give them the space to share how that information or how that service helped them. All of those things that I just described include fundraising. So I'm going to bring it back to my original point that fundraising never stops. Every effort you do should be leading to building trust with someone so they can support your organization. And I always tell people the end goal is never the dollar. The end goal is the relationship, because you can leverage so much more from a relationship and from a place of trust than someone just giving you money, right? The money absolutely is good, but it could be a byproduct of something deeper, because when you have relationships with people, they'll become your ambassadors. They'll talk about you to other people. They'll open doors for you. They'll do things that maybe their original donation could never do. So always be thinking about how every action you take when it comes to your marketing, when it comes to becoming more visible, when it comes to you communicating your impact, all relates to your fundraising. Now, if you've heard me talk about startup, I have a nonprofit startup workbook. And when I talk about like building goals for your nonprofit, in one of those worksheets in my workbook, it's a strategic plan. It's like a 1-year plan you should create. And I talk about creating goals within 3 areas: programming, admin, and fundraising and communications. And the reason why I lifted up fundraising and communications and I put them together is because they go hand in hand. If people don't know about you, if you're not visible in terms of communications, then they can't give to you, right? And if people aren't going to give to you if they don't know who you are, they don't trust you, right? So both of those go hand in hand, which is why I talk about having goals around that, because all year you should be putting together some strategy to stay visible and stay relevant. Does it make sense, y'all? I hope so. Let me know in the comments. The second thing you should understand to get your mind right when it comes to fundraising, or to prepare yourself when it comes to fundraising, is that fundraising is not one person's job. So this is the trap you may easily fall into, and I want you to recognize it early, and I want you to do things about it as quickly as you can. Nip it in the bud as quickly as you can, or as much as you can. A lot of times when you have a board, and this isn't just for new nonprofits or small nonprofits, this happens for big nonprofits too, there's an expectation that as the founder, or if you're the executive director, you're the face of the company. So you're the one doing the direct ask. You're the one going out there, sharing information about the nonprofit, and they're kind of in the background if they're doing anything at all. But what board members need to understand is one of their key responsibilities is to raise money and to ensure the financial health of the organization. If they are not invested in how much money you're making, or making sure you have enough to survive to fulfill your goals, then they're not fulfilling their duties as board members. And it's time to question whether or not they're ready or they need more training. Now, if you want more information about the responsibilities of board members, I did do a video on this, so I'm linking it above. And I'm also linking my board's masterclass. I shared all the responsibilities of board members and the 3 duties that every board member should know about, that they're responsible for when they're serving on a board. So I'm linking my board's masterclass below. But board members have to understand they are responsible for fundraising. They absolutely are. And going back to my first point, I don't want you to get caught up in fundraising only being about the ask. There are things that they can do that's a part of the full cycle of fundraising that can contribute to you being able to bring in money. Their job is to make sure the organization has the financial resources it needs to run efficiently, right? Efficiently and effectively. And so they could be identifying opportunities. They could be thanking people. They could be building your contacts list. They could be talking and sharing about your nonprofit. None of those things have to do with a direct ask. None of them. And everything that they do, all the effort they put into that can help contribute to you getting money. So all of that is important, and your board members need to understand how that plays into fundraising and how they can help you. Now, as the executive director or founder, you very well will probably be the main person asking people directly, right? You may very well be the one in the meetings or talking to funders and things like that. But there are so many things that your board can do to help prepare you for that, or help set up those meetings to get you in the place you need to go. I'm also going to give a nudge to you that when you're selecting your board chair, you want somebody that you want to partner with. If you're the executive director, you want to partner with your board chair to do those meetings together. You want to have that person who can help you be the face of the company. They should be prepared to step into that role as well. So remember, if a board member pushes back and says, I don't want to fundraise, or that's not my thing, or you got it, founder, this is your thing, then that's a signal to you that they need to be educated a little bit more, and they need to know and understand their role as serving on the board of directors. And the third thing you need to know to get your mind right when it comes to fundraising is that you should be paying attention to those who already expressed interest. It's easy to get distracted by the new shiny thing. We all have this thing that we do, right? We want to attract new donors. We want more people, as many people as possible, to support our organization. So we may get caught up in, oh, let's just get seen, let's get visible, let's just get ourselves out there and meet new people. And sometimes when we get so caught up in that, we forget about the people who've already expressed interest, and we forget about the potential to go more deeply with those people. So I'm making this point to say to you that when you are asking for money, don't forget about those people who've already given you money or who've already shown some kind of support to you. And I'm going to give you examples of this and what I mean. First example, if a person gives you, let's say $50 in April of the prior year, and it's the next year, and that person has never given again, ask yourself, what opportunities have I shared with them that have come out of their gift? Have I asked them to give again? Have I reached out to them to say thank you? Have I asked them to give or at least up their gift? Or have I asked them to give in a different way? Maybe they would be interested in participating monthly and spreading out their gift. But you should be asking people who give to you to give again. It should never be like a one-time thing. Like, you should never get a gift and be like, oh, they already gave, I'm not going to bother them anymore. So one thing you got to understand is that people actually want to give. People want to do good. And when you don't give them the opportunity to do that or extend the opportunity, you're keeping them from their blessing, because they want to be helpful or be a blessing to someone else. And you not extending that invitation to do that is keeping them from being able to fulfill what they need for themselves. So you got to look at it like that. Like, everyone is so afraid to push back or ask for more because they think it's too much. I'm being a nag. I'm asking for things that I know they don't have it. You don't know anything. Don't make any assumptions. Go back to that person and ask if they want to give again. Ask what it would mean if they gave again, and make sure you're clear with them that when they gave the first time, it created such a great ripple effect in your organization. It helped someone this way. It helped achieve this. And with your gift again, we can do even more together. The second example that I want to share is, even if someone has not given, but they've expressed interest in your organization, prime example is a volunteer, then that is a prime audience to help you bring financial resources into your organization. One way is to ask the volunteers, right? So you may have been working with volunteers, and because they've seen the work up front, they've seen the work firsthand, they're probably even more invested than someone just off the street who doesn't have a good understanding of what you do. So you need to make sure that you're going back to your volunteers and asking them to support in some kind of way, because they are more invested than probably anybody else. And the thing I don't want you to do is get caught up in, well, I'm already asking them to do something, so why would I ask them to do something else? I already asked them to give up their time. Now I'm asking them to give their money too. This is what we do. Like, we have our own, we put our own stuff in it. That's you projecting. That's you assuming that people don't want to help you, or assuming that people don't want to give. But like I shared before, people want to give. People want to see that something they gave or something they did made a positive difference. And so when you're not asking people, you're not allowing them to have that in their lives. And there's nothing wrong with asking. As a nonprofit, you're supposed to ask. We just offend ourselves at the thought of even asking somebody for something. It's so funny to watch, because I'm not exempt from this. So I'm not shaming anybody. I'm not judging anybody. But it's so funny how we put our own projections on things, and how we say, well, that person don't want to ask because I've already tapped them out too much. Like, they've already done enough. You don't know that. And what's the worst that can happen? They're going to say no. But at least in them saying no, if they say no, because a lot of people won't. A lot of people say yes. But if they say no, you at least have a better understanding of where your volunteers are. That's more information, more data for you to understand how to move and how to ask. So the point of me saying this is that you have people who are ripe for an ask. You have people who have expressed some kind of interest, who are interested, who listen to you, the same people that open your emails or are always sharing or liking posts. You need to pay attention to those people, because if they've expressed interest in your organization once, it's way more likely that they're going to express interest again. And it's less time consuming and less costly to get donations from people who have already given than people who have never given. So pay attention to the people who've already expressed interest and supported you, because that's where the treasure is. All right, so do you need help with fundraising? I break down fundraising in my fundraising masterclass. I'm linking that below just to share information about what you need to have in place for making money and the different strategies you can use, different methods available to you as a nonprofit to raise money. So if you need that information, make sure you check out my fundraising masterclass below. And if you have questions and you need help from me, make sure you visit me at www.bossonabudget.com, and I'll see you in the next video.